such an asshole.
Okay, we have an honest question. A guy wrote a book, and I've linked to it below because he was kind enough to, he hired me out, and I don't mind helping out people, and so consider it free advertising. Let me pull it up here. This man's name is Alex Lyman, and he wrote a Husband's Troubleshooting and Survival Guide. The link is down below. I think it's available. When I originally searched for it, it came up on Amazon.ca. Which is like, regular real Amazon, but cold and not as populated. But he has a question on how to market it. Hello, Aaron. I would like to schedule consulting sessions, see if you may be able to willingly advise a marketing strategy. I have a satire book, Husband's Troubleshooting and Survival Guide. Thanks. And so I said, basically, I'm like, you don't need to talk to me one-on-one. It only cost you $50. I say, I'll just go over it. I'm looking for expert advice on how to spend money regarding promoting the sale of my book. I see a lot of options: social media, Amazon, online holiday ads, etc. The book is on Amazon, available in Kindle, download, or paperback sale. I see you've published several books, and I'm reading the book of numbers now, so I thought maybe a good research. I'm happy to pay the $200. I thought, no, let's save you $150 so you could go ahead and spend that on other money. All right, it's very simple. Because the market has not only changed so dramatically since the old book publishing time and the New York assholes, for lack of a better word, like, I don't like that book, you're not my cousin, so you don't get published. My cousin gets published. But it's really simplified it a lot. All right, so rule number one, whether it's the old school way of advertising or today, write a good book. And I cannot emphasize that enough. I know it sounds so stupid and schmaltzy, but the number one thing to do is write a good book, so that when people read it, they immediately become an apostle for you, an acolyte, or a cheerleader. Cheerleader, that's a better word, a cheerleader for you. And because word of mouth is the best form of advertising. You know why? Because it's free. They're doing all the work for you. All right, so it's write a good book. Two, and here's the other thing, write a book that people want. That's it. I don't write the books that I want. Sometimes I do. I got to take that back. Sometimes I occasionally get to write the books I want, or at least I get to talk about topics within the book that I want to write about. But if I really want to write books, I'd write a Western. I'd write a comic book. The problem is I can't find an artist, because artists are, I don't know if you knew this, but artists are genetically made to be lazy and incompetent and worthless. And then, so I can't produce it. And the other one I don't think would sell. All right. So if you're going to put in all this time, you wrote a 200-page book, 200 pages, 200 pages, that's a lot of work. All right. Make sure to spend the extra 10% of time and energy to make it good and to choose a topic that people want to buy. Now, I'll tell you right now, the problem with your book, well, the cover looks like ass. The cover looks like, okay, here's another thing. Drop the money. Here's another free bit of advice. Drop the money on an artist if you can find one to put together a good cover. This looks like crap. This looks like a cover that I would do. All right. So if you look at my covers, aside from the painfully bad ones where I just slap a picture on it, I've paid artists, including Rollo as well, to do the work. So that, I guess it's 3. Put the effort in to write a good book. Write about a topic people want to read about. And the thing is, have a good cover, because people do judge a book by its cover. Now, all that, we could have said that in the olden time. As it pertains to promoting, there's really only one way. And that is, you find out who in that particular book field. All right. So like, let's say you're writing a book about nutrition, which I guess is a very large topic, but let's narrow it down. Let's say it's foot health. All right. You're a weirdo. You got a foot fetish. You wrote a book on foot health. Find out who the lead content creators are, or influencers, for lack of a better word, and pay them not to promote it, but to review it. All right. Now, a lot of them won't review it because they don't have time. They're too busy. All right. In which case, then maybe you want to consider paying it. But like, for example, I advertised with Tom Likas. He didn't review it, but he didn't have to, because he was so big It was worth it to get there. And he was very fair. You may want to look at it because it's along his lines. I'd be on the horn with Tom Likas right off the bat. Right. But you're going to go to Tom Likas with that ugly cover. And he's going to be like, what is this crap? What am I putting my name next to? Right. Better Bachelor. Right. He'll charge an arm and a leg, but it's worth it. You get exposure there. I don't know if Fresh and Fit do advertising. I don't think any of the Rule Zero guys do advertising, but Terrence Pop will. Turd Flinging Monkey will. I will because I'm a here. But you're going to spend at least a week going online figuring out who are the main influencers and content creators in the genre of that book. And then you're going to pay them to review it. And that's the quickest and best way. And depending on the book, like, let's say it's nutrition. All right, the biggest people in nutrition, they make a lot of money. I mean, those people, I can't imagine what you'd have to pay them for. But what is it? Diane Filippo? She's a nutrition gal, or was, and she was huge. I can't imagine what you'd have to pay her to do a review. It'd be a lot of money. If it's a very narrow niche and there's not that many people, all the better, because they're still getting those people who are really interested in foot health. So you go to Dr. Foot. His name's Francis Foot. He tells you all about foot health. And he's got nothing else going on. He's a doctor anyway, so doesn't really do it for the money. And I'll review your book for $50. Sure. Here's another thing. Spend the money on having it audio so people like me will actually be more prone and likely to review it and charge you less. Right? But the strategy is still the same. In today's world, do not even bother. Oh, God, don't spend money on, no. Do not spend money on Google AdWords, Facebook, any of the big social media. No, absolutely. You find the people who create the content and you pay them to promote your book. And depending on how serious you are, if you really want this book to get out there, I would go and work a second job to work up the money to pay these people to advertise the book for you. If it's just a hobby and whatnot, no, you don't have to pursue it. But if you really wanted to get out there, go work up the extra money and pay people, the big heavy hitters, to read and review the book. And if you wrote a good book and it was germane, a topic that people wanted to read, it should, in theory, self-sell. You should be able to get your money back, unless the person doing the advertising is charging way too much. So that's it. That's all it is. You get the book into the people in the field that have the most influence in that specific genre or topic of book, and they review it, ideally. If not, then they promote it. Because understandably, a lot of these people are just too busy. But you don't, oh God, no. I've never had success with Facebook or AdWords or Google or any of that. No way. And don't advertise on the radio. Don't advertise on television. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And don't even, for the most part, don't even bother like, oh, should I do billboards? Should I do urinal posters? No. Just because now you're spending more time that you could be working up extra money to buy influencers time to just go and promote it on the internet. I mean, you really got to leave the old school behind. You really got to leave that old, because it's not worth your time. It just isn't worth it. All right. And then what else? All right. And then finally, everyone thinks like I got some magic formula. Yeah, it's called hard work. The only reason I'm here today is because I started writing a blog in 2004. That is 17 years ago. And I wrote religiously, I wrote high quality stuff, and I wrote all the time. Now, a lot of that was thankfully due to the fact that for a fair amount of that time, I'd be working in banking and they could never keep up with the speed at which I would work. So I had lots of time to kill time. So when you're stuck at a desk for 6 hours a day doing nothing, you'll come up with some very interesting things to write about. But then what else did I do? I did podcasting. What else did I do? I did YouTube. I got out there and I produced content so I could sell myself. Now, I didn't think of it that way. I didn't like, I'm going to write a blog and then the internet bandwidth will increase. That'll become a podcast, YouTube, and I'll get this thing called Super Chats, which is 15 years down. I didn't think about that. I did it because I wanted, basically, for therapy and to prove to everybody I was right. And I've done that admirably so. And they still don't care because they want to believe their socialism more than they do reality. But I have this lexicon. I don't want to say legacy. That's not. I have this Body. I have this library of work that has built up my follower reader base, subscribership, and I am who I am to end in people. Oh yeah, he does it's no different than like, a good mechanic. Oh yeah, everybody goes to Bob's. Bob's a great mechanic. Go to Bob's mechanic shop. Yeah, go to Bob. And if Bob stayed in business and did good business for 17 years, yeah, he'd have a loyal client base. Now, I don't know if you got time for that or not. You could start writing, but dude, like the red pill isn't flooded. We got all of these avatar expert nobodies who bought their Twitter subscriber accounts. And like, oh, I can tell you how to get laid, bro. Who are you? Who are you again? Oh, you're a life coach. Oh, you just decided to become a life coach, huh? Oh, okay. So you're unemployed and can't find a job. And then you thought this would be easy, huh, bro? So, I mean, you can write, and if you write very well or have a different take, sure, why not? Write really good stuff, and you say, hey, if you guys would read this and forward it, yeah, you're right. Quality product sells itself. I don't send all the articles I ever write to all the people I have on Twitter. But if I write a good one, yeah, I'm right up hey, Rolo, look at this. If he's not busy, he will. Send this out to the guys. Say, hey, look at this. And usually when you get the reputation, they're like, oh, I better look at it because when he sends me, it's no bullshit. He's not effing around. He put some effort into this. So that's it. But unfortunately, it could take easily 10 years. And then I don't have this on my list, but I probably should have added this about the third, fourth thing, whatever we're on now, aside from the main, just pay people to review it. Be a hot young girl with big cans. Okay. If you're a hot young girl with big cans, then you're just like, hey guys. So my dad's a famous psychologist professor in Canada, and I won't mention who he is, but give me lots of money. Yay. Okay. So go become a hot girl with big tits. There you go. And that's how you market a book. Any super chats? Hey, speaking of what, velocityofinformation.com. Doc has a book coming out. See, now let me show you this. Doc has not only a library of work on the internet, he also has a career backing this up. He also has a PhD. And if you go, and he has a connection with, and I've read his work. Now, I didn't like his first book. I'm not saying it wasn't good. I just didn't I wish he did the things differently, but it was still very well written. And if you were a parent and you had children, you didn't want them getting, hurt, concerned about safety. But he has a new book coming out called The Velocity of Information. You could pre-order it next month. I never understood pre-orders. It won't be an audio book until 2075 because Doc rolls that way. The Blue Wrench. But yeah, everyone check out Doc. You can tell Doc's retired because he's always on my show. Like, do you remember when Doc had a job? When Doc would go and he'd like teach and consult? Now he's not flying around. I'm like, hey, Claire, what's going on? Yeah, that's an idea, Doc. You're right. If you're old, sure, people 50 or older might read magazines. Sure, Doc. Right. Yeah. All right. That's it. We'll see you guys later.